It was a very cold night. The wind was sharp, and the sky was filled with clouds. Zion, a 29-year-old mechanic, was closing the shutter of his small garage shop in the countryside. He had finished repairing an old tractor and was looking forward to going home, making tea, and lying in bed. The village where he lived was quiet and simple. There were only a few houses and lots of open fields. People usually went to bed early. As Zion walked toward his home, he saw something strange in the sky. A green light, bright and fast, was falling from above. At first, he thought it was a shooting star, but it didn't look like one. It wasn't fading. It was growing brighter and falling quickly. Then it disappeared behind the trees near the edge of the forest. Zion stopped walking. He looked around. There was no one else on the road. The air was cold, but his curiosity was strong. Something inside him told him he had to check what it was. He turned toward the forest, tightened his jacket, and walked carefully toward the place where the light had gone. The trees were tall and the path was muddy. His boots made squishing sounds as he walked. The wind whispered through the branches. After about 10 minutes, he saw something in the distance. A soft green glow was coming from behind a group of bushes. He stepped closer, pushing the branches aside, and what he saw made his heart beat faster. There, lying on the ground, was a woman. She was not wearing clothes meant for cold weather. Her outfit looked strange, thin, smooth, and shining faintly under the moonlight. Her skin was pale but glowing, and her eyes were closed. Her long silver hair was spread on the grass. She looked peaceful but also weak. Zion rushed to her and knelt beside her. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked, touching her shoulder gently. Her skin was cold, almost freezing. Her eyes opened slowly. They were big, deep, and had a soft violet color. She looked straight at him as if trying to understand where she was. Zion could feel she was not like anyone he had ever seen before. "Can you hear me?" he asked again, more softly. The woman opened her mouth slowly and said something that made him freeze. "Let me warm your bed. I have nowhere else to go." She spoke perfect Urdu. Her voice was soft, almost like music, but her words were strange. Was she joking? Was she confused? Or was she really in danger? Zion looked around. There were no signs of a crash, no broken parts, nothing that showed how she had come here. But her body, her clothes, her eyes, they all said one thing. She was not from this world. Zion stood up and offered her his hand. "You can't stay here," he said. "It's too cold. Come with me." The woman didn't resist. She took his hand slowly and stood up. She was weak and she leaned on him for support. Zion removed his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. It was too big for her, but it helped. They walked back to the village slowly. Zion tried to ask her questions on the way, but she only gave short answers. "What's your name?" he asked. "Sira," she replied. "Where are you from?" "Far," she said softly. "Very far." Zion understood she didn't want to talk more, or maybe couldn't explain. When they reached his house, he unlocked the door quickly and helped her inside. It was a small one-room house, but it was warm. There was a bed, a table, a heater, and a small kitchen. He helped her sit on the bed and brought her a blanket. She sat silently, looking around the room with curiosity. Zion went to the kitchen, made some tea, and handed her a cup. She took it carefully, holding it with both hands. Her fingers looked delicate, almost glowing under the light. He sat across from her and watched as she sipped the tea slowly. "Thank you," she said after a while. Her voice was low, but kind. Zion nodded. "You're welcome. But you need to tell me something. Who are you really?" Sira looked at him for a moment. Then she whispered, "Not now. Just let me stay. One night. I have nowhere else." Her words were calm, but full of something. Fear, sadness, or maybe loneliness. Zion didn't push her. He could see she was tired. Her eyes started to close as she wrapped the blanket tighter around herself. Zayan laid out another blanket on the floor. You take the bed. I'll sleep here. But before he could lie down, Sira looked at him and said something again. You don't need to sleep on the floor. We can share. I will not hurt you. Zayan didn't know what to say. It was strange, but her voice was so gentle that he didn't feel afraid. He thought for a moment, then nodded. Okay, just to rest. They both lay on opposite sides of the bed. Zayan kept to his side, but he couldn't sleep. So many questions filled his head. Who was she? Was she really from another planet? What did she mean by having nowhere to go? But as the minutes passed, her breathing became soft and steady. She had already fallen asleep. Zayan turned slightly and looked at her sleeping face. She didn't look dangerous. She looked lost and alone. He stared at the ceiling and whispered to himself, "What have I gotten myself into?" Outside, the wind blew harder. But inside, the room was quiet. A strange peace filled the space. Zayan didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but something told him his life was no longer going to be normal. The next morning, Zayan woke up early. The sun was shining softly through the window, and the cold wind had slowed down a little. He looked over to the other side of the bed where Sira had been sleeping. But she was not there. At first, he felt worried. Had she left during the night? Or was something wrong? He got out of bed and went to the kitchen. There, he found her standing by the small sink, washing her hands carefully. She looked more awake now, but still quiet and serious. Her silver hair was tangled and her glowing skin seemed even softer in the daylight. "Good morning," Zayan said, trying to sound friendly. "Did you sleep well?" Sira turned and smiled gently. "Yes, thank you." Zayan noticed how different she was from any person he had ever met. She was polite, but also very strange in her behavior. She didn't talk much about herself. Instead, she looked around the house with curiosity and sometimes confusion. She asked many questions about simple things: the heater, the tea kettle, the radio. "What is this?" she asked, pointing at the radio on the table. "That's a radio. It plays music and news," Zayan explained. Sira tilted her head. "Music? News? What is news?" "It is information about what is happening in the world," Zayan said. "People listen to it to know what is going on." She nodded slowly. "I want to learn." Zayan smiled. "I can teach you." After breakfast, Zayan decided to take Sira outside for a walk. He thought fresh air would help her feel better, and maybe she could explain more about herself. They walked slowly down the road, past small houses and open fields. The sky was clear and blue. "Where do you come from?" Zayan asked gently. Sira stopped and looked at the sky. "Far away, not like Earth. My home is in the sky, above the stars." Zayan was surprised but kept his calm. "Above the stars? How do you come here?" "I traveled," she said simply. "But my journey was not safe." Sira looked tired, as if remembering something difficult. She kept quiet for a moment. Zayan wanted to understand her better, but did not want to push. Instead, he talked about normal things: the village, the weather, his work in the garage. Sira listened and smiled at some things. "Your world is beautiful," she said quietly. As they walked, Sira's eyes suddenly widened. She pointed to a small black bird flying nearby. "Is that?" she whispered. Zayan looked, but it was just a normal crow. "Yes," he said. "It is just a bird." But Sira seemed worried. She kept looking around nervously. When they returned home, Sira sat on the couch and said, "I want to rest." Zayan nodded. Of course. He could tell she was still weak. Her body was not used to Earth's air or temperature. She shivered sometimes even inside the warm house. That evening, Zion tried to learn more about her. He asked, "Do you have family? Friends?" Sira's face changed. She looked sad and scared. "My family. They are not here. They want to find me," she said slowly. "Why do they want to find you?" Zion asked carefully. "Because I left," she said, almost in a whisper. "I had to leave. My world is not safe for me anymore." Zion understood she was running from something dangerous, but he didn't know what exactly. Sira looked at him with big eyes. "Can you help me? Please." Zion took a deep breath. "I will try." That night, when they sat by the small heater, Sira began to explain more about her world. She told stories about places filled with shining buildings in the sky and people who could change their shapes. She said she belonged to a group called the Sky Clan, who had strong rules about family and trust. "In my world," she said, "touching someone is very important. It means trust. If I touch you, it means you are special." Zion listened carefully. He was fascinated but also confused. "What happens if you touch someone?" he asked. Sira looked shy. "A bond forms between us. It is like a promise. It protects us." Zion wondered what kind of protection she needed. Was she afraid of being caught, or something worse? Days passed, and Sira became more comfortable in the village. She tried to learn Earth's ways, but sometimes she would stare at the sky, lost in her own thoughts. One night, Zion heard strange noises outside. He looked out the window and saw a small drone flying quietly near the trees. It had no lights but moved carefully like it was watching. Zion felt a cold chill. "They are here," he whispered. He told Sira. She nodded. "They are looking for me, my people or others. I don't know." Zion realized the danger was closer than he thought. He promised himself to protect her no matter what. Despite the fear, Zion and Sira grew closer. They shared stories, laughter, and moments of silence that were peaceful. Sira was no longer just a stranger. She was someone who needed warmth, not just from a bed, but from trust and friendship. Zion thought about how strange his life had become. From a quiet mechanic to a protector of a mysterious woman from the stars. And deep inside, he wondered if this strange meeting was fate. After the strange drone flew near Zion's house, things started to change. The quiet village no longer felt safe. Zion watched the skies more carefully. Sometimes, in the late evenings, he saw small lights moving quickly between the trees. They didn't look like normal planes or birds. They looked like machines, searching for someone or something. Sira stayed inside most of the time now. She looked worried and restless. One night, while sitting by the heater, she finally opened up more about her past and her world. "My home is far beyond your sky," she said softly. "It is a place with cities that float on clouds, where the air is thin but full of light. We call it the Sky Colony." Zion listened, amazed. He had never heard of such a place. "Are you from there?" he asked. "Yes," she replied. "But I had to leave. There was a war, a fight for power. I did not agree with what they were doing, so I escaped." She looked down at her hands. "My family, they belong to the leaders. They want me back because I know secrets, secrets that could change everything." Zion felt the weight of her words. He could tell she was not just running from danger, but from something bigger than he could understand. She continued, "They have machines that can track me anywhere. They want to stop me from telling the truth." Zion asked carefully, "What kind of secrets?" Sira hesitated. "There are laws in the Sky Colony. One law is about the life pair imprint. It means that when two beings touch and trust each other, their lives become connected forever." Zion felt a chill. Connected forever? How? "It is like a bond. If one is hurt, the other feels it. If one is lost, the other loses part of themselves. It is a sacred promise. My people use it to protect their families and leaders. Sira looked at Zion with serious eyes. When I touched you that night, it happened. You and I are now linked. Zion was stunned. He had never heard of anything like that. Was it true? Did he really share something so powerful with this strange woman? Sira smiled weakly. It is not easy to explain, but it means I trust you, and now you must protect me. Zion nodded slowly. I will do my best. Days passed, and Zion tried to keep Sira safe. He hid her from neighbors and stayed alert to any strange noises or lights near his house. He also started repairing his old truck, thinking they might need to leave if things became dangerous. One afternoon, a man in a dark suit came to the village. He asked many questions about the strange woman. Zion did not trust him. The man's eyes were cold and his voice was firm. Zion told Sira about the visitor. She looked scared but calm. They are getting closer, she said. I don't know who they really work for. Maybe my family, maybe others who want my secrets. Zion felt the pressure. He had never been in such a situation before. Protecting someone from unknown enemies was frightening. One night, while they sat together in the small house, Sira told a story from her world. In the Sky Colony, families are important. But some families want power more than love. They use the life pair imprint to control others. They force people to bond and obey. Zion frowned. That sounds terrible. Sira nodded. It is. I refuse to join their plan. That is why I ran. Zion placed his hand gently on hers. You're safe here, as long as I'm around. Sira smiled, a small light in her eyes. Thank you. As the days turned into weeks, Zion and Sira's bond grew stronger. They shared meals, stories, and even laughter. Sometimes, Sira would try to mimic Earth customs, drinking tea with her pinky out or watching old movies Zion found online. Zion taught her simple words and phrases, and she taught him strange songs from her world. But the danger never left. One night, the drone came again, closer this time. It hovered outside the window, shining a soft red light. Zion grabbed his phone and called the village police, but they said they could do nothing. We don't know what that is, the officer said. Maybe it's a hunting drone or some government thing. Zion hung up, feeling helpless. Sira looked at the drone's light. They are searching for me. If they find me, I will be taken back. Zion's heart beat fast. He knew he had to act. The next day, they made a plan. Sira would try to send a signal to her allies, rebels who opposed the leaders chasing her. Zion helped her build a small device from old radio parts and his tools. They worked late into the night, assembling wires, batteries, and small antennas. Sira showed him how to use symbols and codes from her language. It was difficult, but they managed. When the device was ready, Sira activated it. A soft pulse of light went into the sky. We wait now, she said. Days passed with no answer. The drone came and went, always watching. Zion stayed close to Sira, ready to protect her. Then one morning, a message came back, hidden in a static-filled radio transmission. Sira's face lit up. They heard me. Help is coming, she said. Zion smiled with relief, but he knew they were not safe yet. The enemies would come soon. He looked at Sira and said, We will face them together, whatever happens. Sira nodded, holding his hand tightly. Together, in that small house far from the stars, two very different beings prepared for the fight. Ahead, bound by trust, courage, and a secret that could change their worlds forever. Days passed quietly, but Zion knew the calm would not last long. Every night, he listened for strange sounds outside his small house. Sometimes, far away, he heard engines or saw faint lights moving quickly in the dark. The danger was coming. Closer. One afternoon, a man in a dark suit arrived in the village again. This time, he came to Zion's door. His face was serious and cold. He said he was from the government and asked questions about the woman staying in Zion's house. Zion did not trust him. He felt this man was not telling the whole truth. "Why are you looking for her?" Zion asked quietly. The man smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "We just want to keep the village safe," he said. "She could be dangerous." Zion shook his head. "She is not dangerous. She is just lost." The man looked at him with sharp eyes. "If she is who you say, then help us find her. It is better for everyone." Zion refused. He closed the door and locked it. He knew this was a warning. They wanted to take Sira away. That night, Zion told Sira what had happened. She listened carefully but did not show fear. Instead, she said, "They want to trap me. If I go with them, I will be used against my will." Zion took her hand. "I will protect you." Sira looked at him with deep eyes. "You are brave, but this is more than danger. It is a battle for control." Zion wanted to understand better. So Sira told him more about the life pair imprint and the rules of her people. "In my world," she said, "some families use the imprint to control others. They force people to bond, and then those people cannot say no. It is a prison." Zion was shocked. "That is terrible. You must not go back." Sira nodded. "That is why I ran away. But they will come for me." Days later, Zion found strange footprints near his house. He knew someone had been watching them. He decided it was time to move. They packed only what they needed. Sira took a small bag with her few belongings, and Zion prepared the truck for a long trip. Before leaving, Sira looked around the small house one last time. "This place is warm," she said softly. "Thank you for everything." Zion smiled. "We will find a safe place. Together." They drove away under the dark sky. The road was long and empty. Zion kept his eyes on the rearview mirror, watching for any sign of pursuit. After a few hours, they stopped at a small town. It was quiet, but safer. Here, Sira tried to rest and regain her strength. One evening, a strange message came through the small device they had built. It was from the rebel group Sira had called before. They said help was on the way, but it would take time. Zion and Sira waited, but the danger did not go away. One night as they slept, loud noises woke them. People with flashlights were searching the town. Zion quickly hid Sira in the back of the truck. He told her to stay quiet while he faced the men. The men knocked on the door asking questions. Zion told them nothing about Sira. After a while, they left, frustrated. When the men were gone, Zion rushed to the truck. Sira was shaking, scared, but safe. "We cannot stay here," she said. Zion agreed. "We will keep moving until help comes." Over the next days, they traveled from place to place. Sometimes people helped them. Other times, they had to hide. Their bond grew stronger. They trusted each other more. Zion learned about Sira's world, and Sira learned about Earth's kindness and fear. One night, sitting by a small campfire, Sira said, "I never thought I would find a friend on this planet. You gave me hope." Zion smiled. "You saved me too. You made my life interesting." They laughed softly, but the future was still uncertain. The hunters were closing in, and the rebels had not yet arrived. Zion held Sira's hand tightly. "We will face whatever comes. Together." Sira nodded, feeling safe for the first time in a long time. Days turned into weeks as Zion and Sira kept moving from place to place. They avoided cities and crowded areas. They slept in forests, behind old buildings, and sometimes in small guest rooms given by kind strangers. Each night, they huddled, close to keep warm. The bond between them grew stronger. They were no longer just two people on the run. They were a team, depending on each other. One morning, while resting near a quiet river, Sira looked up at the blue sky and smiled softly. "The rebels are coming soon," she said. "I can feel it." Zion smiled, too. "We have done well to stay safe this long. We will be okay." They had used the small radio device to send secret messages back and forth with the rebel group. The rebels promised to send someone soon to help them escape and find safety. But time was not their friend. Every day, strange machines and drones flew overhead, scanning the land. Zion had to stay alert at all times. He became more careful, planning their routes, finding safe places to rest, and watching for signs of danger. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned orange, they were hiding in a small abandoned cabin. Suddenly, they heard noises outside, voices and footsteps. Zion whispered, "Hide!" They quickly moved to a hidden corner, holding their breaths. The door opened slowly and several men entered. They were not friendly. Their faces were hard and cold. They carried strange devices that looked like weapons. Zion's heart pounded. He looked at Sira, who was pale but calm. The men searched the cabin but did not find them. After a while, they left, frustrated. Once it was safe, Zion and Sira ran from the cabin and into the woods. "We must find the rebels soon," Sira said. "They are getting closer." Finally, after days of traveling, they met the rebel group. It was a small team of people from Sira's world who had come to help her escape. They were kind and serious, understanding the danger. The leader of the rebels, a tall woman named Alara, smiled at Sira and said, "You are safe now." Sira's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. I am so tired." Zion felt relief, but also sadness. He knew that Sira might leave soon to return to her world or start a new life far away. Before Sira left, she turned to Zion. "You gave me warmth when I had nowhere else. You saved me." Zion smiled softly. "You saved me too." They hugged, a long, quiet moment of friendship and gratitude. Sira then joined the rebels. They promised to help her find freedom and stop the dangerous families who wanted to control her. Zion watched them leave, feeling a mix of happiness and loneliness. His life had changed forever because of a strange woman who fell from the sky. After she was gone, Zion kept her hoodie she had left behind. It smelled faintly of her and felt warm in his hands. He smiled to himself and whispered, "Thank you for trusting me." Life in the village returned to normal, but Zion never forgot the night he found a woman who asked to warm his bed because she had nowhere else to go. Sometimes, when the sky was clear and full of stars, he would look up and wonder about the floating cities above and the woman with silver hair who changed his life.